Check 1, 2. There we go. Alrighty. And it'll turn off the loading screen. There we go. Alright, guys. Hey, sorry for the wait. Busy over here. Just get El Musico. I'm totally not fluent in Spanish, just FYI. Just tapping into my heritage like a poser. Anyway, getting all set up here. How is everybody doing? You guys hear me okay? Kind of did a whole update to my system a bit here yesterday, and making sure everything's still set up correctly, because some things are like still reconnecting, drivers are still finding their way to their places, etc., etc. I know that doesn't really make sense, but you know what I mean. Reinstalling drivers, all that fun stuff. Making sure everything's working as it should, as it used to. My Windows didn't update for the longest time, and then all of a sudden it was like, it would give me an error. Like, it wouldn't want to update. And then all of a sudden it was like, hey, I want to update today. You need to restart. I was like, okay. Guess that's a good thing. Hopefully. Sorry, just getting adjusted here. Alright. Everything's perfect and smooth. Sweet. Fluffy Panda, you're too kind. Sounds good. Hello from Egypt. Wow, all the way from Egypt. Man, I'd like to visit Egypt someday, just to see the pyramids. And I always hear people say that it's not like the movies portray, or even like a lot of travel videos, because they say you're standing here looking at the Great Pyramids, and then you do a 180, and it's just like Starbucks and like just commercial, normal, you know, capitalist society like anywhere else in some ways. It's just shops and all this kinds of stuff. And nothing wrong with that, except it's just weird juxtaposed against something so ancient and mysterious and then so modern, right? I don't know. Let me know if that's true. That's just what I've heard. Pardon me as I munch. Okay, so I assume everybody's been here before, but if anyone's curious, just let me know if you have any questions. But this is a piece I've been working on for a bit here, and I was just thinking about this from the other day. How I have all these annoying kind of really like visually loud dust clouds that are not at all finished, and then I kept thinking, well, what's the point of them? The point of them is to hold the wings up. And then I was playing with the cloth the other day, and I just love all the dynamics we can get out of this, and so I'm thinking maybe I should just flare up some more cloth instead of having just so much of these dust clouds that really just don't work. I feel like they don't really, I mean, I could make them more realistic. I think that's the thing, is the stylization versus how realistic the people are. And I think I'll still use them in some ways and maybe make them more realistic. But I don't know. I was thinking with the cloth idea, it might be a nice way to just, you know, amplify what we can do now in ZBrush in the new version of 21. And, yeah, just have some fun with cloth. So we'll see. I think I'll just sort of hide this stuff for now and then see about maybe flaring like this stuff that's folded down here, since this is supposed to be a sort of sequence, you know, like a continuation of the original sculpture. I think maybe having something flare out here and then just thickening it, you know, and have it conveniently fold on itself a bit could be a more low-key way of you know, having things work to sustain the wing shape, and then in turn, of course, hold their form up. So we'll see. So I'm going to have a little bit more fun with cloth here, as both an excuse to have fun with it and a better solution, perhaps, to some of this. Maybe I'll intermingle the cloth actually with the dust clouds, and in turn, sort of, what I need to do is almost have the dust clouds, since they're obviously more influenced by cloth in the real world versus the other way around. I mean, they're both influenced by air, right, because they're both thin, but I think I might have them both play with each other, perhaps. So anyway, we'll see. We'll do a little experiment here, essentially, practice and experimentation. So with all that being said, I think what I need to do is establish a new basis here for this cloth that will be, essentially I've just got to remake this whole base, you know, or at least delete a lot of what's here, you know, blend that into the rock, because then I want to have those flowing out into the space right here. So anyway, just giving you my train of thought. Windows is a needy girl. Windows is something, that's for sure. It's a pain in the rear. What's up, Vasquez? Oh, sorry, a friend of mine's calling. Just gotta say streaming. Can't chat. Okay. Anyway, all right. Hear Van Halen for some reason. What? I hear no Van Halen. Must be coming from your end, I think. Because I have no computer audio going through either. Oh, you know what? No, you were. Sorry, that was my ringtone. Hello. I completely forgot. That's what you were hearing. Oops. Yeah, that's my ringtone. I guess it was just loud enough for you to hear, but not loud enough to go through my headphones. Oops. Yeah, jump. Sorry. Yeah, it just ended, I think, as I pulled out my my headphones. Hilarious. Yeah, it's my ringtone. You got it. I'm always eating on the streams now. I'm sorry. Just having a little bit of late lunch or dinner, really. All right. So the great thing with ZBrush is anything can become cloth, right? Anything can be simulated like that. So I think what I'm going to do, let me bring that smoke for a second. So what I could do is make the smoke a collision object and then go back and forth with that. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of one have collusion with the other, kind of get some of the right feel that I want. So I could use this as sort of a basis for the cloth to be deformed on, you know? So yeah, I think I'm just going to mess around with this for a little bit, see if this could work as a good base. Maybe I'll just scrap it and just do the cloth first and then have this adjust to that, but we'll see. So I'm just going to use a move brush and just kind of mash some of this stuff up a little bit. And because I know Vasquez is going to ask, what am I listening to? Yes, it's Paul Oakenfold's newest mix. And for anyone who'd like to listen along, there you go. I am somewhere in the what am I at now? Like just about the 9-minute mark. Yeah, a little past 9 minutes, so, you know, whatever, if you want to listen in near real time. Keep eating. Yep, ZBrush and ASMR. It's the ASMR ZBrush podcast live stream. Tasty. I don't know. It's the ASMR ZBrush comedy hour. There we go. I'm missing some lettuce in this sandwich, though, so you don't hear any crunch. It's just nothing. Don't be blaming me for stuff. It's not my fault. I'll traumatize people. Funny. Traumatization. So, but I am liking the flow of this. I really do like how this is kind of just like whoosh, like coming out from the bottom. Just being an expulsion of dust. But I think the thing to do here would really be to kind of, I don't know, I'm debating if I wanted to do like nanomesh with all that, the air kind of flowing down. Kind of like what I did as a test with these little rocks that I did earlier on in the progress of this piece. I'm just kind of leaving them there as a reminder for what I did before. We'll see. I don't know. I might just do like a dynamesh replacement of all this and sort of have it all be... The trick will be that they all have to intersect enough, though, so that I can Boolean them, weld them together, or dynamesh them together in some way, you know. So I'd have to create a lot of bigger chunks that fill in the inside, and so I don't know. That's where then it might just look weird. It might just look like weird rocks, not like, you know, dust being pulled and pushed. But yeah. Do we have anybody on the East Coast of the U.S.? I'm curious. Or if everybody's on West Coast time. Or international. Just curious if we got anybody from my old time zone. Sorry. It's like, I want to say time district, but that doesn't make sense. Kirkland Skunk. East Coast, nice. East time, but way down south. Right now it's 9:40, 9:24. I almost had dyslexia kicking there. Nice. All right. Kirkland Skunk. Where in the East Coast, if I may be so inquisitive? For those listening, if anyone's listening along, right around the 13-minute mark, they get into some real like heavy vocals, and I don't really like it when trance has like, it's like a traditional song that's sort of like a remixed version, and it's like really cheesy. So I'm just skipping past that because it's hard for me to even speak when I'm listening to words being spoken at the same time. It's like, you ever try that when you're trying to have like a very focused conversation or say something, and then someone else is like intentionally talking over you, you know, or in your ear, and then it's just you're struggling to not say the words they're saying, you know. Or someone's like, "I got the cat in my house right now," and you're trying to like say something else, and then you say cat or house in your sentence. You're like, "Wait, no, that doesn't make sense." It's a pretty funny mental challenge to have with people. Because I think we all struggle with that kind of focus. I was just at the beach a little bit yesterday and a few days before that, and kind of say it's just nice to get out a bit more and just look at the ocean. I need to do it more often. I really do. It's terrible because I live like a mile and a half, 2 miles from the ocean, and yet I don't go out as much as I should. I really don't. And I think I need to start making a bigger point to get out more, just get outside more. I mean, I walk my dog, of course, like multiple times a day, but that's still just around your block, you know what I mean? So it's just suburbia. It's just houses and neighbors, and it's all nice and whatever, but it's not the same as, you know, being in front of raw nature in some ways, which... Of course, the beaches are semi-man-made, I guess, but you know what I mean. Just seeing the ocean, smelling fresh air, breathing in salt air. It doesn't really get much healthier than that, I think. I mean, unless you're surrounded by forest, I guess that's equally purified, or maybe even more so by all the plants. But anyway... let's see. What else do we got here? Near Pittsburgh. Oh, Kirkland. Cool. All right. Are we friends on Facebook? I wonder. I have a sneaky suspicion we are. I never really spent any time near Pittsburgh, but I went as far as like Altoona. I think that's a little bit more north northwest of where I grew up. I grew up outside of Philly. So I spent a lot of time in Wayne and King of Prussia and Lancaster. I grew up in Lancaster, really, in the suburbs slash countryside. Very rural. Can't talk rural. You know, forest-filled and corn crop-filled environment. So suburbias were just placed, little suburbs were placed amidst tons of farmland where I grew up. So extremely removed from most actual, you know, city life. Even Lancaster downtown back then was not anything like it is today, and with barely, you know, it's a small town sort of thing, you know. Historic, very historic. So, you know, like cobblestone streets and brick laned alleyways, which was nice. Kind of like Gettysburg, but not nearly as historic as Gettysburg. But yeah, Lancaster was its thing, its own thing. And King of Prussia, I like King of Prussia a lot. And the town of Wayne is this beautiful, quaint town against a lot of forested area, along with what they called the Main Line, which is like one of the most, it was at the time, like one of the most expensive areas to own property in the U.S. It was crazy. I think like M. Night Shyamalan was known to live out there. I had a friend whose sister was his nanny for a while, his children's nanny, which was cool. Never got to meet him though, but I really enjoyed his movies, especially his first like 4. Anyway, sidetrack. So Vasquez has answered for me. That's funny. Yeah, I've got a SLA. I've got a do you print in SLA? Yeah, I mean I print in both FDM and SLA, but I've actually been, I gotta like clean out the heads of both my FDM machines now, a MakerBot and an Ultimaker, and it's I just haven't gotten around to cleaning them because I hardly print on them anymore. I really should, I guess, do some more prototypes on them, but it can just be such a hassle to have to clean everything up after a while, and I just have been busier with SLA projects, so you know, and just having a good relationship with Formlabs at this point, it's you know, I'm just seeing my decline on printing an FDM drop precipitously. It's just, you know, but I should still do some projects that I've been meaning to do on them as I'm completing like the shield for the boys. This is another thing I've been working on and off. I was doing my Twitch stream the other day on this. Finally almost finished with this thing. Just got to work on the handle. So I might do another stream if anyone's interested. I might continue this stream tonight for another hour, working on this on Twitch. Because in finishing this up, I'm also working on like the handle, which has like this sort of look. It's meant to look like kind of looks like a gem emerald sort of material is what the shield looks like. It's sort of like like an emerald sort of stone. So they have these bizarre. This is going to be a body of a little trico looking creature, and then its mouth connects to another trico's mouth, like they're almost either eating the same thing or puking, like a bird feeding a bird kind of thing, and that forms the handlebar for the shield. And that's going to be for my little Last Guardian short that I've been slaving over slowly over the last year or so. But yeah, so anyway, that's coming. Anyway, sorry. So that's probably going to be printed on an FDM machine, probably my Ultimaker, because I have some material that looks just perfect for that, but I have to chop it up a lot. So I might see if my buddies at Formlabs can print some of that in printed in tough on a Formlabs Form 3L, which is their really big SLA printer. But I'm going to have to dye it a little more yellow because their tough material is really blue right now, and I need it to be more of that emerald kind of color, so I got to add yellow to blue, some dyes, you know, classic color mixing there. Anyway, sorry, I'm going back through the oh, it's Shunk, sorry. Not Skunk, sorry. See, I'm just glancing over stuff. Funny. You just call yourself Kirkland Skunk. I don't know, this would be funnier. Shunk. Okay. Ecuador. Wow, we got someone from Ecuador. Do I have any tips when dynamesh ruins some details of the sculpt? Yeah, so Fernanda? Yeah. So yeah, Fernanda SN. Tips, I guess, would be if it ruins detail, you want to enlarge, scale up your model, because then that'll immediately add more polys to So like essentially it's in relative to the floor. So if you have your object being about the size of your floor, so I'll give you an example here. So right now, this is, so you can see it's pretty much the width of the floor, right? And so that will correlate directly to your increased or decreased number of polys that dynamesh will create when it remeshes something. So if you wanted to retain detail, for instance, this guy, let's say this, I think this is dynameshed actually, this whole thing, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't checked on this in a while though. Let's see if it is. Yeah, it is. So because this is almost a little more than half of a quarter, so it's about a quarter, I'd say it's approximately a quarter size of the whole floor. It's considered by those proportions relative scale rather large. So if we look at the so here if we look at the current state of it, things are a bit stretched out. So I could actually use a good dynamesh, redynamesh right now, because normally when you redynamesh something, you'd have more of this orderly, very orderly, mostly quads, and so you can see some stretching here, and you can see it's even tighter down here. But it's not insanely tight. We got 297,000. So if I redynamesh even now with the settings being at 176, no blur, no what's that called? Sub projection. So let's just redynamesh by holding Control and drawing out there. Immediately now we got 270. Okay, and it's okay. It's not super dense, and you can see some like stuttering kind of here, some of that like stair-stepping effect. So if we undo that and we go a little higher, but still like we're not even in the 1,000 range, you know, we're just keeping it in the low hundreds. So we bring it up to like, let's say it's 450, and now redynamesh, we're at 1 million, 1.7 million, right? A lot denser and a lot more to work with as far as this is concerned, but I probably want to undo that and do it more in like, so I want to bring this down to like say like 240 redynamesh. And so yeah, we're in that nice middle ballpark that I like, which is about 500k. So that's pretty good, and that's still, you know, light-ish, but still enough density to work with this a little bit better. So there you go. So if you have it like a quarter of your floor, you're gonna have some pretty good amount of detail retained. If you need more detail, either increase your resolution on dynamesh or inversely increase your mesh size a bit. And there's a happy middle ground there for the amount of details you have and the amount of dynamesh you want, poly count you want to have from dynamesh. So I just play with those two, you know, going back and forth, scaling up, scaling down. And if you need to scale everything up, you know, together, if you have a piece of something that you're working on, a subtool that's dynamesh, but everything else is not, just do your, just use your gizmo and do holding Alt, click here, and actually, I don't think you have to Alt for that. Just click on your what they call the pizza box, right? This is for your transposing all subtools or just the selected one. So once you have that clicked, all visible subtools will scale in accordance. So certain things are unselected, right? You just have to Control Shift those to add those in. So now everything will scale together. You know, so if you need to scale things up, you want to keep them all proportional to each other relatively. That's how you do that. So hope that helps. Anyway, get back to this. Sorry, that was a long answer, but hopefully I covered it. See what else I missed here. Yeah, Vasquez already got it for you. There you go. Latino team is strong in this live. Hilarious. Potter has had so I'm sorry, I can kind of I don't know, maybe Vasquez can get that. Yep, Vasquez, there you go, you're fluent. I can kind of read Spanish and be like, all right, I kind of get every other word, kind of get the gist of what questions are usually, but I'm not fluent, so anyone who's a bit more is more than welcome to cover that. Yes, this is ZBrush 2021. Formlabs is amazing. Wish I own one of the printers. Yeah, man, you should get one. They're incredible. They're awesome. I can get you $250 off if you ever want it. Just use my code. I can give it to you guys. Actually, I should give you guys my code now. So if anyone's looking to buy a Formlabs Form 3, I can give you guys $250 off of that. Let me actually get that for you quickly, because I don't have it memorized. Okay, so if anyone's looking to buy Form 3, I'll put this in the chat for you. Let me just move my windows around here a little bit. Okay, so for those wondering, if you want a Form 3 and you want $250 off, this is my code. Form 3, G6MYFJ. There you go. All right, so sorry, going back through the chat here. We got a bunch of questions pouring in. F for Trico, what? Do I have a butane torch? Found it's the best way to clean the nozzles. No, but I need to get one of those. I guess I could get one on Amazon, right? I remember you mentioned that before, and I've heard other people say that too. So thanks for reminding me. I need to get one. I really do. So because I have like a heat gun, but that's not the same thing. It's not nearly as powerful or as directed. It's a little too broad, I think, and it will take too long. It will cook everything instead of just being more focused. But I need to get a butane torch for sure. Have you ever molded and casted anything you've printed? I have not, but I'm going to be actually for the Mufasa statue I've been working on. I'm going to be molding and casting the base to get a crystal clear glass-like base, so that it looks like God rays, and then the light will kind of pour in through there and reflect and refract out of it. So I will. Smooth On, I guess, is like the place to go really to get a lot of those materials. It's pretty straightforward with this molding and casting, basic shapes, primitives. It gets exponentially more challenging when you have more complex shapes. Overhangs and undercuts become a big issue. Then you want to kind of do injection molding, I guess. What else? Do you add your own colorant to SLA? Yeah, essentially you got to add some dyes. And usually it seems like you actually want to do it in the alcohol bathing process. So that's what I was reading up with them, talking with Form Labs about, is that you don't really necessarily need to add the dye into the resin, because that can also screw up some of the way the light and the laser interacts with the resin. So you probably want to actually soak the printed object when you're washing it in isopropyl alcohol, like 99 or 90%. Between, I guess, 90 and 99 or 100% alcohol, have the dye in there, and then just let it soak in there, and it should penetrate through pretty deeply, apparently. So that's something else to check out. And I have to check the brand. There's a specific brand of dyes that they recommended. I can look it up before the stream's over. Duplicate subtool, dynamesh. I'm going to use a duplicate to project detail back of the dynameshed one. Sorry if I missed that. Oh, you're talking to... okay, got it. Sorry. What else do we got going on here? Color material with Formlabs color kit. Yeah, you can do that, but it's pretty specific ratios too for that, and it's solid. It's not like you can get translucency in that. I think you have to use it with a base that's like a white base, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't actually used it. I've just seen the printed versions in the kits as they are, but I've never used them myself. Yeah, exactly. It does get kind of pricey. Sure thing. Just join. Can I see the whole piece? Oh yeah, sorry. I'm just catching up with all the chat. Here's the whole piece so far. I can turn off the poly grouping so you guys can get a little bit more clear picture. Probably going to remove this thing for now. It's just the cloth has been the focus lately, and I've been enjoying working with it. So, oh, come on. Wrong one. Oh yeah, that's the old one. All right. And let's see, there's the cloth. So then this, yeah, we'll try to move some of this stuff around a little bit. all this stuff. I mean, like, it almost feels, all this one, this just feels kind of unnecessary at the moment. Let's get rid of that. I might actually, yeah, you know, it's the more I've been thinking about it, the less is more in this case. I think I might just not even put a huge dust cloud there at all. It might be better for me to kind of just wrap this thing around. In this area. And then figure out a way to either have cloth or the dust sort of interact with the wing in another way. This would be kind of cool. I don't know, you know, it might be interesting to have some cloth simulation of the dust here in a sense to kind of have it flow over the rock a little bit more, but I'm going to have to redesign some of this rock as well because I want that cloth to be gone so it's actually all flowing or moving in some way and adjusted from his wing movement as opposed to just at all being the same as what it was in the original. Sorry, let me finish up with the chat. Excuse me. Do I do freelance work? Yeah, I do. Totally. So if anyone has any work, let me know. I've gotta get back to some clients who are looking to start up some stuff too. But let me know. Right now in these crazy times, work is appreciated for sure. Before cure, I guess. Oh, for the dye? Actually, well, it's during the cure, I guess. So it's like after you've printed it. If you print it clear or some colors, then you saturate it in dye in alcohol while it, you know, as part of the curing process. Yeah, that's how you would dye it. Sure, pathway the air to escape. Yeah, for sure. I'm not going to be casting this, though. I'm going to be casting just Mufasa's glass base, essentially, I think. That's the only thing I'm probably going to cast. I'm going to print it first, of course, and then use that as the, you know, really polish that and make sure that it's crystal clean and flat and clear as I possibly can get it, and then cast it in what should be, hopefully, you know, totally clear. Got a brush it. It's great for the detail. What's the story behind this piece? Did you use base meshes for the characters? Yes, yeah, definitely use some base meshes for the characters. Used Nick Z's human meshes as the base, just because they're pretty good. I'm not really happy with her hands. I'm gonna probably, I think, change up her hand a little bit. Probably even both of them, I guess. Really, it's gonna be a little bit of a pain in the ass to do the one her holding his wrist. But I don't know, the hands just look a little weird. Like the whole palm area, it just looks a little. The metacarpals look kind of weird. Just the width and the skinniness of the legs of the fingers. Maybe I might just have to thicken the fingers. Maybe that's probably all I need to do to make it look a little bit more idyllic proportionally. Yeah, and her forearms just feel a little bit long too. I feel like it's a little spindly, kind of, you know. So things are going to be adjusting. But yeah, thanks for the kind words. I mean, it's all progress. This is all being blocked in still. You know, nothing is really. It's just nothing's decided yet. This is all still deeply a work in progress. Sorry, I'll get back to sculpting in a minute. So the story behind this piece is simply it's a sequel, as you could say, to my one of my original pieces that was also based on a classical piece by Antonio Canova. Let me see if I can find it here. I can open it up for you guys quickly. Got a project. Where's it? Projects. Cupid. Let's go back. Where's the original? I think this is the OG. So this is the original piece. I have 3D printed. I can probably bring about the print if you want. It's in the other room, in the lab. But this is the original piece. And this was based on Canova's original sculpture, where both characters, especially the male character Cupid, looks extremely more androgynous and just young, and I really wanted to make them more mature, like adults, and the kind of the epitomized versions of both genders, and just make them really beautiful and attractive and masculine, and just really kind of epitomize that. So yeah, this is the original. Everything was just sculpted. Obviously, this is before we had any of the cloth features in ZBrush, and it was done in like a few days. It was done really, really fast. So I did like 2 or 3 all-nighters really just to kind of get this all finished really quickly. Because it's for a masterclass where I was teaching how to segment your model for a multi-part larger than your build volume piece. And so that's why things are not perfect, you know, but I think the anatomy is decent here. I think it was pretty strong. Sure, there's some imperfections and whatnot, but overall I felt pretty happy with it. You know, and a lot of people seem to get a lot of positive response. A lot of people loved it. And so yeah, and I just had some fun with, you know, he in the original piece he's basically holding her breasts and holding her head, I believe. And I wanted it to be a little bit more, less, in a sense, less sexualized and a little bit more of an adventure, really. As the story goes, Psyche, which is this woman, she was lied to and was told by Cupid's mother, Venus, to retrieve, I believe, a vase, a container, which had a potion. I think that she told her, if I'm butchering it, you have to look it up. I think Venus told her that if she retrieved this vessel, it would contain something that would help Cupid fall in love with her, because I think she wanted Cupid's love more, or whatever. And so she goes down into Hades, which is their version of hell, essentially. She descends into hell, finds this vessel, but I think curiosity got the better of her or whatever. She opens it, and then it makes her fall asleep. So it's kind of like the original Sleeping Beauty. She's out. She's in the middle of hell, right? So then Cupid eventually asks, I think he asks Venus, like, where Psyche is, and Venus eventually tells him reluctantly, and then he goes into hell to save her, essentially. And so his kiss is the only thing that can revive her, otherwise she'd die. So I just thought that's a really cool, epic premise, right? And that could really make a cool movie, I think, actually, if you were to really expound on it. And I have a bunch of ideas for something like that, too. But, yeah, so I just thought that's such a cool idea. And what a juxtaposition, too, of, like, these two beautiful, perfect beings in such a, you know, gruff and a rough environment. The idea is very cool. So I figured, why not, you know, this is that moment just after the kiss. He's looking up rather than looking at her, because we would think in theory they'd be surrounded by demons or you know, danger of some type, of course. So that's why he's kind of got this sort of trepidatious, kind of pissed look, and why he has sort of the bow with these blades on it as a kind of almost in a protective sort of position. And then I kind of, you know, he's an archer, right? Classically, so I figured, why not give him certain attributes. The original had a quiver, but he didn't have a bow, so I figured, you know, rather than just him groping her, why not give him a bow and have him more being the protector of her, right? Rather than, you know, it wouldn't make sense to really engage in sexual activity while you're in the middle of a dangerous war zone, essentially. So, designed this kind of cool bow, something I thought was pretty unique, and even like certain things here, like the symbols on the bow have like you have like a liquid sort of symbol here, and then you have a flame symbol there, because this is actually a reservoir for oil. Again, this is all, of course, just an idea, and the oil could then be lit here, so you could have flaming arrows, essentially. So you could have the flame being emitted from this side of the bow, from this little lamp, essentially, that's built into the bow, and then you got your whole set of arrows right there. So it's just something cool, like, just, you know, it's just a lot of meat to chew on as far as storytelling goes, and visual storytelling. So that's just the general design and the idea of this whole piece. And so this is a very tentative moment of just after her resurrection, essentially. And now this next piece is the sequel, you could say. Essentially, it's their ascension from hell, right, up to the realm of the gods, I guess. So yeah, so that's the story. That's the long and short of it for this. What do we got? What else? What is MK3? Sorry, I'm trying to follow what you guys were talking about. I'm missing that. Vasquez, let me know what MK3 and SL, is it SS, SL or SI1? Oh, this is printers, I guess. Model's looking awesome. Thank you, sir. Or miss. I'm assuming you're a sir. I don't know why. At that stage of the sculpt, do you recommend to join everything and sculpt the final details? Sorry, which stage for what? Like the stage of this this piece is at right now, or the previous one? Previous one, I joined a lot, and then pretty much almost everything, but then I started segmenting it from there. Yeah. Should totally showcase the thickness and drafting tools stream using the new font space. Yeah, that's actually an interesting idea. I should check that out. Perfect is the enemy of good. Yeah. Damn, this is not the hour for streaming. How so? JPEG movement. Do you have experience making characters? I've been working on one for a while. Yeah, I definitely have experience making characters. Trying to get them to look exactly like the character. What way can I contact you for future work? You can just email me, man. Email is the easiest way. So this is my email. Anyone who wants to reach out, feel free. Make sure I'm doing this right. There you go. So it's Daniel@lion-arts.com. How do you get text so clean and sharp on your model? Text? Oh, that's the text tool in ZBrush. It's great. It's awesome. I can show you that in a second. Very cool. Thank you for sharing the story. Both are wonderful pieces. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Game Art Academy. Appreciate it. I tried doing text before and it comes out jaggy, stair-steppy. Yeah, there's resolution controllers in the text. Yeah, Vaxis has got it. Yep, Text 3D plugin. Vector shapes. Yeah, so as far as text goes, we can just do this. Text 3D. So, you know, you can choose your font here. I always like to go with Arial just because it's a very clean, solid sans serif. Black is really thick. Regular is kind of thinnish. What else do we want here? Extrusions. Resolution, you can go a little higher with resolution so we get a little bit more edge loops. Regular resolution for outline, yeah, spacing's fine. So then we can just do new text and just do hello. Come on. There we go. Just do line arts. Boom. And there it is. So there's the text, and then of course we can do anything to this now. It's a 3D object, so you can extrude it. Just to show you the topology. It's not exactly the greatest for sculpting, but it's very clean, right? And it's minimal. So then if you want to edit that, so you're not happy with that, you say edit text, you know, whatever, you can do that. But then you can also update it. Sorry, again. So let's say you want it a little thicker. You can do your extrusion here. Up that a bit. If you want a little bit more detail in some of the areas, you know, some of the curves, you can up your resolution. Go up to 7 here, and you can see now the edge loops going around the curves increased. So now it's pretty hard to really see unless you get really close. It'd be hard to see that there's much faceting. But you could always divide from here as well. You can dynamesh it then, which is what I did to attach it to whatever. Or boolean it in this case too if you wanted to do that. Dynameshing would just help in that you'd have smoother subdivision, because if you were to subdivide this now, I think it would look pretty weird. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so we'll do that. So you'd probably want to dynamesh it or ZBrush it, which would help greatly. But yeah, that's kind of the basics for the text tool. I mean, it's like I don't really go to insane lengths of detail with it. I haven't really had to. But, you know, feel free to experiment with this. It'll give something to do. Yeah. Sorry, so let's hide that for now. All right. Okay, what else do we got? Feature existed. Wonder if you can download fonts from your computer and use them. I think so. I think there is a way. Yeah, load font from disk. There you go. File from disk. So right here. So you just click on that and load in whatever font you want. So yeah, you got a whole selection of power there. It's pretty awesome. All right. Anyway. Anyway. Okay. Yeah, I think I covered everything. If anyone has any questions I missed, please let me know. Anyway, otherwise, trying to move this forward. Alright, so I was thinking about this, and since this is just a large piece of cloth, I mean, I might as well just add some extra pieces here, just have them like flowing into this mass, right? Which means that this rock has got to be more like a rock and not have these cloth details sort of hanging around, right? Yeah, so probably just eliminate some of this very quickly. What are we at here? All right, yeah, it's pretty dense. So right now I'm just using the clay build-up brush to revise this to make it look, again, more like a rock and less like cloth draped over a rock. So all I'm doing is just doing alt subtraction with this and then increasing it, smoothing it, and then we'll sharpen up some of these details here in a little bit. Do you think I can tilt the Cupid head a little bit? Sure. I mean, I'm not sure what you mean exactly. I mean, it's just still, again, all blocking in. It's nothing's final. This is actually detached from the previous model because I just figured I would edit the face rather than re-sculpt the whole face, which would be a nightmare for this. So got it. His expression hasn't changed yet, so I have to really work on all that. But as far as the head's concerned, I mean, kind of when I'm looking upward, still, you know, where he's headed. I'm not sure by tilting exactly in which direction or what do you mean exactly, but hey, any critique is welcome. What else? Best $700 ever spent. Perpetual license to, yeah, ZBrush is amazing. Do you work with subdivisions? See you're moving stuff around, high resolution. Wouldn't it be easier to manipulate stuff by jumping between subdivisions? Yeah, I do usually work with subdivisions, but right now things were already kind of modeled at a certain point, and then they were decimated, and I didn't really want to go back and find the non-decimated ones that was all separated, and I think I just had trouble finding the original older files, so I just figured, screw it, just start here. Especially now with I have a pretty strong machine. No real concern for working with heavy meshes right now, and I can always just, you know, ZBrush them if I need to. Pardon me. So, just figured, you know, not a big deal here. But yeah, usually, yeah, I do often when I'm modeling something from scratch and it's totally being just built, designed. Yeah, I usually model with the attitude of it was almost like modeled originally for production, so it's has a low cage, clean topology, and then as it progresses toward being 3D printed, then topology matters less and less as the form is refined. Textures and UVs don't matter at all in this case. So yeah, so that's why I'm kind of operating the way I am. Right now it's really more about just getting the form and clean shapes that I want. yeah, lower sub deep might help in some areas, but this is sort of like almost going a more classical sculptural route at this point, where it's like I'm not really concerned about topology all that much. So yeah, but yeah, when I normally work on characters or anything that's for a production or actual client work, that kind of thing, yeah, I usually work with subdivisions and a lot of clean topology and all that good stuff. And honestly, sometimes it's just fun just to work like this. It's just fun just to not really care about low cages and working in such a very cautious and preparatory way. And here it's sort of just a little bit more, like I said, classical sculpture, a little bit more free form. I kind of enjoy that really because I think I spent so much time being more studious and careful with everything clean and having things ready to be handed off for production. And now it's like it's very freeing to not really have to worry about that. So I kind of welcome the shift in what is needed for said work. Where did I get the idea from? You mean for this piece? From the original piece, from Antonio Canova's original sculpture. I'm not sure if you were here, Salvatore, for the previous little bit, but I was just showing people. This is the original piece that I made. So this is a remake, essentially, of Antonio Canova's piece. I'll bring up the original, too, so that those who do not have context can. So here's the original. So this is the original piece. This is in the Louvre. So you can see this for real in France. So yeah, just, classical sculpture, amazing, beautiful form, soft skin, just the whole look is just gorgeous and romantic and epic. But I wanted to kind of push it more into that 300 realm, a little bit more just mature and masculine men and feminine women. It's just, I think Cupid really, the woman looks fine, I think. It's a beautiful, elegant form, but Cupid just looks a little too, I don't know, it's just like a small young David, like the sculpture by Michelangelo. And it's just I don't know, just little, everything's too soft. I wanted things a bit more sharp and impacting visually. So that's why I went the route that I've gone. But that was the inspiration. That was the impetus for the whole thing. Yeah. So that went to this, where it's a more adult, mature, version, and then that has now transitioned into its sequel, essentially, which is what we have here. First version is more intimacy. This one seems to lack. This one seems lack of that. Maybe wrong. It just feels that way. The first version is more intimacy. You mean the first, like the original version, like Canova's, or you mean my first one versus this one? Yeah, this is because this moment isn't about intimacy though. At this point, this is telling a story of escape, right? So this is supposed to be more exciting, more thrilling, more grandiose and epic movement, right? It's not about the stillness of the moment. This is about escape, right? So there's got to be a lot more dynamism, a lot more just brute movement of one way getting out, up, right? So yeah, the idea of intimacy is not here at all. It's not intended to be intimate. 100 gigabytes of RAM. That's amazing. Yeah. Where did it show that? I don't even realize. Maybe that was in my. I don't know where it was, but up here, right? Yeah. Duh. Yeah, I've got 128, I think. And right after I got that, then I realized that there was another motherboard you could put 256 on it. So I mean, you can keep going. I mean, there's servers obviously have a lot more, but just building a machine at home, 128 is pretty good for now. It's a decent machine. Yeah, and CPU and RAM are just all that matter right now. But also for working with Unreal, I've got a RTX 2080 Ti. So I definitely went big when I built this to accommodate future work on this machine for a while. So I don't plan on upgrading much anytime soon. I might get the what is it, the 380? What is it, what is it called? The 30 something? Not 380, 3080. Is it Ti? I don't know. Whatever the next RTX version is, which should be way more powerful apparently, and also cheaper. So that'll be cool. That'll be on the shopping list for sure. But we'll see how fast things take advantage of it too. I think the RTX cards came out, and it was a while before even Unreal took advantage of them. I think before it really was able to maximize RTX. I think though that was probably the initiation of them implementing RTX, so maybe it'll take advantage of it almost immediately when they add it here in the near future. We'll see. But either way. So this whole thing's been dynamesh 2-ish, so I might just... I think I cut out that vase, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Okay, so it's here. Let's do that. Okay, so it's right there. So with all the wind and turbulence and everything, I might actually have it being tossed and maybe actually having some liquid spill out of it, or I don't know, a little dust cloud coming out of that too. I don't know. We'll see. But okay, that's there, so I can eliminate it from the base. So yeah. So I'm just gonna smash this thing into that. And why is that from... Might have been from a previous placement of where her legs were, but I can fill this in too, I guess. It doesn't need to be that way. 3000 series? I'm not sure what you mean by 3000 series. It's taking over these screens of the characters. Will you change the expression of Cupid? Yeah, the expression of Cupid will change for sure. Yeah, and the clouds. Yeah, the clouds are definitely. Yeah, it's kind of like. Yeah, it's too much. So I said I'm going to be moving things around a lot. Probably using more cloth actually on top of the clouds to kind of show the flow of air more so than just the clouds. Yeah, this is also sort of an exploratory practice. Really, this is nothing set in stone, no pun intended, just yet. Yeah, so I'm probably going to minimize this a bit and have cloth. Cloth is going to be filling in this space a little bit more and overlaying literally some of the clouds. Tell them to show the Raptor. That's funny. Before I really got the grasp of subdivisions, I tried to sculpt my characters in high resolution, but I ended by getting a bumpy surface. Yeah. You were talking about the upcoming 3000. Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah, the 3000. Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Sorry, derp. I'm an idiot. Yeah, that's what I was meaning. Yeah, because there's the sorry, I'm just getting a light here. That was the 2000 series, I guess, is what we have right now, right? Yeah. So I guess this is the Raptor that Vasquez was asking about or mentioning. This is a SLA 3D printed Jurassic Park Raptor that I made. Pretty bananas detail. It's all really faithful and accurate to the original. Just enlarge this here for a second for you so you guys can check it out. But there you go, for anyone who's curious. Let's see if it can focus. Focus. No. But there she is. There you go. This is actually from a slightly older model too, and I think I got to improve some things here and there. But you know, I'm a perfectionist again. But overall, it's all spot on. By improving, I just mean like certain things around like the orbital socket there. It's a little pushed in. It needs to be pulled out a little bit more. That's about it. Otherwise, it's good to go. So there you go. Jurassic Park Raptor. I'll probably be selling one of these on eBay soon. So if you guys want to know about that sale, feel free to follow me on Instagram, and you can be the first to know when it goes up for a bid. Let me move my face out of the way. So yeah, if you want to follow me on Instagram, if you want to bid on that awesome Raptor, and they paint great. I gotta say, man, I've seen people do some amazing paint jobs on my Raptors in the past. They hold, if you use a nice wash, you know, you get some really great, you pull out a lot of the details, because I went to an insane degree of detail on these guys. I mean, every micro, like super micro detail. So like the scales have wrinkles, you know what I mean? Like it's really insanely accurate to the work that Stan Winston Studio did. I used tons of photos from behind the scenes before they painted the original animatronics, and traced every single wrinkle and line and looked up photos from every angle, and it was just an insane amount of personal love that went into that. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, there's my Instagram, and I'll announce whenever I'm gonna sell something. And in the past, I would announce some things that weren't printed yet, and then I'd have all this trouble printing them. And so now I've decided I'm just gonna sell whatever's printed, and not pre-order anything, not create a waiting list at all. Because it can take a while. So yeah, so that's obviously physically done, ready to go. So that will be one of the few that will be up for sale soon. So hopefully someone would like to purchase it. You know, I usually sell them for around like 100 plus, so that'll be probably around the cost that it's going to be going at. Maybe start a little less and then let people bid it up if they want. But I'm not printing a lot of them anymore. I still have some available for order on my site, but I'm going to be probably taking those down soon too, because I just don't. It's from an older version, I think, from when I was doing FDM, and none of them are printed on FDM anymore. They're all going to be printed SLA. So I should probably just take that down tonight, actually. I probably will do that. So if you want to order one, it's going to be eBay, or if you want to jump on the site still now and order something, but I've got to change some of that wording because it's all going to be SLA now. So just FYI. Alright, anyway, enough on the rock. Rock is boring. Let's do some fun stuff with cloth here. Let me just push this around a little bit more and get it to a place I'm really kind of happy with, and then we'll move on to some cloth sim for the next hour or so. So right now I'm just using Alt and Move. So if you hold Alt down and you tap and drag, it will drag at the angle of the normals of your polygons, which means, you know, directly perpendicular to the surface rather than parallel to the camera, right? Where if I use Move without Alt, it'll just drag that, right? Like to the direction in perpendicular or parallel essentially to the camera. But if I'll Alt, you know, I can have it move upward. After a certain point, it inverts. I'm not sure why, but so there you go. So then obviously that's moving in unique. Right now it's like coming toward the camera because those polys are perpendicular to the camera. So you can see it's coming out toward me. But normally if I were to do the same thing without Alt, it's just going to go sideways, you know, from the camera's perspective. So it's just a cool trick there that I learned like last year or the year before, and for the longest time I didn't know you could do that. So it's pretty cool. I got a random question for you guys, for the 67 of you out there. I'm just curious. I love seeing certain people review movies, even if they're movies I've already seen, or movies that are much older, of course, than anything new. But I'm a movie freak, you know. Is anyone else out there the same way? Do you guys like watch like Jeremy Johns or I don't know who else is out there who does some reviews? I guess Grace Randolph, she does a lot of stuff. She does more current stuff, I guess. But they're YouTubers that are, you know, they have millions of followers. You know, many people are subscribed to them, and that's just the people who we know that are subscribed. Of course, there's many people who tune in a lot to channels that aren't subscribed. So I'm sure there's even more probably that watch their stuff. But yeah, just curious, because that's something I've been thinking about. I mean, I'm going to be starting a podcast toward the end of the summer, maybe even the beginning of the fall. But it's going to be interviewing people that I know in the industry that are pretty accomplished and pretty unique individuals. Some pretty big names and some that maybe you may not know, but I'm sure you know their work. And yeah, it's just going to be fun. It's going to be a nice, real conversation, but just with questions from my perspective. But I'm also just thinking about potentially doing some filler material, which would be of interest to people. Filler meaning in between guests, because I'm not sure how consistent I'll be able to get the guests rolling. But I think I'll be starting with some pretty heavy hitters. So we'll see. That'll probably, again, help bring in other people that I may not know, but that I know of and would like to interview. So yeah, just curious what you guys think. Just a random polling here to see what you guys think as far as you know, where your interests lie when it comes to hearing and, you know, people's thoughts that you might enjoy as far as their take on films, games, that kind of stuff, because that's my life is, you know, sculpture for films, games, toys, products, statues, all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, just a random curiosity. Let's see here. Have I tried marble PLA? I don't know. I haven't actually. That's interesting. I wonder how that looks. Let's see. See, it was chopped up into a couple parts. Was that keyed? How do you figure out the tolerance for the parts to fit together just right? Just trial and error. Somewhat. Yeah, it had to be chopped up into pieces. Sorry, I'm just taking off my compression sleeve. Leg has still been giving me a little bit of issues. Excuse me. As far as just tolerances go, I'm pretty familiar with the materials at this point, so I kind of generally know like how far I can push things. And Formlabs is pretty accurate. I mean, it's pretty precise. So not much warping or shifting happens. Pardon me. So with that in mind, I know I can get pretty exact, and then I just do a tiny amount of shrinkage, to accommodate for any sort of expanse or just the fact that I know there'll be some variance, to where two areas will come in contact with each other, but it's very minimal, so it's a very little shrinkage or expansion that I do to boolean out and have parts that will interlock very well. So I mean, I guess you could say originally it was trial and error, but it was really just usually one trial or one error. Sometimes it works perfectly from the first guess, though, because I've gotten pretty familiar with just the predictability of the printers. So now it's really not. It's not always a model by model basis. It's more of like a material knowledge basis. So if I know I'm using gray pro, I know what the predictability is of that, or regular gray versus white, and that just comes from experience of printing with those materials. But I've actually had less waste with the Formlabs printers overall than I have with my FDM printers, and that's mostly due to the reliability of the SLA printers like Formlabs versus the extremely more variable level of quality you get from a lot of FDM printers. I think much less so with Ultimaker. Ultimaker's been pretty awesome overall, pretty solid. MakerBot, my original MakerBot Replicator 2, a lot more variability and a lot more trial and error in there for sure. So yeah. Different materials at different tolerances. Yeah, exactly. What's it? Sumerian King makes film reviews analysis. Nice. But don't watch my own stuff. I hope people don't watch their own stuff. That'd be pretty cringy. It's pretty narcissistic if you're just like, look at me, I like myself all the time. It's like, look in a mirror, dude. What else? I like good bad flicks. I do a lot of story of the development, which is interesting. Yep. Yeah, I've seen their stuff. There's this guy who does these amazing retro perspectives, and he did this. He did a couple. One of my favorites is because of one of my favorite films. If you can't tell, The Matrix. Let me see if I can find it quick. I just want to make a recommendation here because this is such a quality, in my opinion, such a quality review of The Matrix, and it's just his personal relationship with the film. But I just thought it was fascinating, and I like the way he does it. He does some pretty good stuff. He makes his own like trailers, even sort of for the movie he's talking about. Let me see if I can find this guy. I forget his name. All right, Oliver Harper. There we go. It's the first one. But if you guys like The Matrix, just this intro with this it's great. It's a production value for YouTube reviews. I thought it was just pretty incredible. It was pretty good. It's definitely enjoyable. So if you like The Matrix or want to hear a good movie review of that, there you go. But his stuff is pretty cool. I'm not sure I'd go to that production level for most reviews, if anything, just because it's a lot of work, and that's not my primary focus of my podcast or my life, really. I'm not reviewing, but I think it'd be something cool to do. Pardon me. let's see what else. I'm just seeing what Joe D, Joe Die, D-Y. I'm saying I was just seeing your reply there. Scott Adkins has been doing a lot of interviews with legendary action actors and stuntmen. Scott Adkins, huh? I'll have to check that out. Thanks. I feel like it's familiar, but I don't... It's not immediately ringing a bell. I'll have to check that out. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, if anyone knows any other good reviewers out there too, I mean, I'm always up to see what's out there. That's cool because stunt people don't get enough credit. A lot of people just make movies, right, that are not the writers, directors, or actors. And even though I would say writers often don't get enough credit alone, because typically it's like directors and actors are just as if they've made the whole movie, you know. And of course, artists and a lot of the people who help make the movie all that it is, just they don't often get a lot of screen time credit or interviews or anything like that. So that's some of the other people, sound designers, right? I'm a huge fan of good sound design, and I hate hearing bad ADR. Like, that's something that really bothers me because I can pick up on it like that. And I think some people don't really think about it. For me, it really irritates me. So I love hearing it. I'm always impressed when there's ADR done for scenes that I didn't know they did it. You know, but that feels like it's rare. I feel like often you can tell. So anyway, things like that I just always find interesting when you can find, you know, the craft that goes behind a project and find the people who make it sing. You know, that's always cool. Nice rock. Have I ever made articulated figures? Not really. I mean, I haven't really gone after that. It's not something that I think would be too hard. But it's just something that's never really been my focus. I've worked for toys a bunch, but then usually I hand off the sculpture and they're the ones who would engineer the articulation. But as far as that's concerned, yeah, I mean, I could do it, but it would definitely increase like price and time depending on the level of articulation. So it just depends. But no, I don't really have anything like as an example, because everything I've worked on, like toy-wise, that the companies have hired me to do, it's always been sculpture, and then they just want me to hand off the file after it's done, and then they have people in China or wherever else do the engineering. So, and I feel like some of it's just very plug and play. Like they have stuff already preset, and they just like, you know, tack it in there and chop off parts and boolean them together, and then they're the articulated parts. So, and I feel like that's kind of the process that would be for me after I, you know, get some good working pieces in that department. So, yeah, but yeah, I mean, articulations, it's cool, but it always sort of disrupts a sculpture a lot of times unless you can like hermetically seal it like underneath skin, which is something I'm trying to do. I have to finish this. It's been on the back burner for a while. This dolphin that I'm Echo the Dolphin version of the dolphin that I want to make that will have an internal like snake-like skeleton ball hinge system, so that it should have enough tight tolerances so that when you bend it, you know, it'll make that like, I remember my sister had Barbies and they would make this kind of like snapping sound, you know, when you'd move the arms because it was tight tolerances, or even like some of the Hot Toys. Like I got a few of the Hot Toys from the Resident Evil line back in the day, and I think you'd even then, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't really take many out of the boxes even, which is stupid, but like it's like, why do you buy something, you just leave it in the box. But you hear like the snapping of plastic, you know, as it would move, either if it was like a lock joint system or if it was just really tight tolerances, so you just hear like the plastic rubbing against plastic. But the point of that is that you'd have like I think Hot Toys made some of their characters that had skin over top of joints, or some of them, and that's pretty cool, but that's rare. You know, usually you see the exposed joints, and it kind of ruins the aesthetic as far as a sculptural piece. I mean, it's a toy, I guess, so then it's like meant to be played with. But a lot of adults who buy that stuff, I don't play with them. It's just standing there and collecting dust. So it's sort of like, it almost ruins the aesthetic. I feel like I like more statues and sculptures more than articulated figures, so to speak. But some of the sculpture work on the faces and whatnot, or even just the whole form, it's great. But then your flow of, from the artistic point of view, the flow of the work is disrupted by articulation joints. So, you know, but it's like, whatever. I think it would be cool to figure out a system that would really work for hiding joints by having skin going over an internal skeleton, you know, an endoskeleton. I think that'd be pretty cool to figure that out. So that's what I'm trying to do with this dolphin piece. but it's still going to have to be inserted via a slit down the center line of the body of the dolphin into a hollow cavity that'll be like defined by the shape of the spinal column, essentially. So that'll be an interesting challenge to finalize and try to figure it out. Yeah, celery snapping a lot. It's often bones. Yeah, yeah. Well, they'll take like cabbage sometimes and like break it apart, things like that. Yeah. What tablet am I using? I'm using a older Cintiq. It's a Cintiq Companion 2. So that's what I'm using. Nothing really extravagant, but it works. It's a decent Cintiq. I was using the face buttons, but they started sticking, and I had to message them at Wacom about that. And I sent them a whole like log of everything that happened, and hopefully they're able to figure out what's going on, or maybe my Windows update fixed it. I've just been using my keyboard now a lot instead of the face buttons for Alt, Control, Shift, and all that. Maybe now it'll be working properly. I don't know. I've gotten so accustomed to using the keys now, back into doing that traditionally, that I'm not using the face keys anymore. But right now it looks like everything's. Oh, did it already stop? Yeah, it already stopped. Right now I'm hitting Control and it's not. Oh, there it is. All right, Alt, Control, Shift. All right. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how long it lasts. Let's do a quick save here. Quick. I'm gonna bring in. I guess I'm gonna bring in a plane. I guess I'll bring in a plane, subdivide it, and sort of make a rectangular sort of shape here to kind of be another piece of cloth that'll flow out and billow out in this way in some way. What do we got here? All right, so that's that one cloth. Snap the other way, please. There we go. Okay, so that's what we got here. I'm going to have to add thickness to all this cloth, of course. That's something else I'm just thinking about. Because they will never print a plane of anything. Something that happens too, it's like using, I'm not sure if it's just, it might be the way that it's processing the button presses on the Cintiq, but often when I release, I just want to do slight zooms in and out. It just sort of snaps to extremes. It's weird. Bury some of this for now. That's a good idea, actually. I never thought about that. That's a good way to do that. 2 planes in the curve bridge. Yeah, that's a good idea, man. Can mold the dolphin, remove it after it's molded, and then insert the articulated skeleton in the mold and pour softer plastic in the mold. Secure around the skeleton. Yeah, but the problem with that always is, like, how do you suspend the skeleton in the center, right, in the proper place? You'd have to have something to hold it where you'd have to, like, either a bar going in and out from, like, the tail and the mouth, I guess, or something. Like, that's that was what I'm wondering about when you try to mold something and have it be sealed inside. I mean, unless you could have it I don't know if you could do this. I don't think you can. Where you'd have it cure to some degree, then you'd place the skeleton on top of that partially cured bit, and then pour the rest in and fill it in, and then you still. But you need to do injection molding, I guess, because to do the whole thing without seams, you know, I don't know how you do that. You'd have to have a break somewhere in the seam line, and then you'd have to clean that up. You know, like the flash, I guess is what they call it, right? I'm not sure. See, I'm not super experienced with molding work currently. I mean, I know it's not brain surgery. I've seen people do it in person. When I used to work at Sight and Sound, they did it a lot. I mean, it's some cool stuff where you do like, it was like the smooth on, right? You just put it in a box and you just pour like, it's like silicone mold essentially, right? It's this greenish, minty kind of color. And that was pretty cool. Alright, so I'm just thinking. I like your idea, Vasquez. I might try that out. Because my brain was not in that. It was not in that department. It just wasn't even. I wasn't even thinking about doing it that way. The whole bridge idea is a great idea, though. It's a fast way of creating, yeah, kind of like an interesting flow. It's also kind of like when I brought in the ring and created this thing out of the ring, the Taurus Sunday. Kind of has a similar effect. Oops, wrong operation. I'm going to do that here. Oh, wait, it's not the right one. How is that again? I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I said this. Or is it just the edge, right? It's just the edge, isn't it? Or it's like, oh, what is that now? I'm trying to remember. Dang it. It's been a while since I did that, where you slide it and it increases the edge loops and decreases them as you slide, right? The BJB Enterprises have some good tutorials. Yeah, there's the smooth on guys. That's a good point. Da-da-da-da. Can you show skin sliding, how it's done? Skin sliding, I'm not sure what you mean. Curve bridge brush, not ZBrush. I mean Z-Modeler. Curve bridge brush. See, maybe we're thinking of two different things. Oh, you know, I think what I was thinking of is two holes. I think, yeah, that's the thing you have to do, is you have to do two holes. Because then if I do that, then this, yeah, this is what I was thinking of, but that's for holes. I'm not sure if this will work with. So if I do this, will that work? No. Bevel, second time mixed up, ZBrush or Z-modeler, yeah, okay. So wait, the curve, oh, so you're thinking of just like a curved, slides of muscle shown by NPC. Oh, that's not really, that's not really, was that ZBrush? I don't think they did it in ZBrush. You have to have, that's a simulation, I think. Unless you want to do like layers, like a blend shape, I think is what you're thinking of maybe. What is the matrix thing called in the background? Like a digital post or something? No, that's an actual, that's funny. Every stream practically someone asks. That is a lenticular or foil reflective. It's both. I think a lenticular and foil reflective poster. Let's see if I can turn on the light on it here a bit more. Blam. So one of 300 ever made. Found it on eBay. Had to buy it. And it says "Free Your Mind" at the top. And it looks better in person than it does on video. But it's just a beautiful poster. And I just bought a bunch of the kind of meteor shower LEDs that you can get for Christmas. It kind of rains LEDs down. And I just affixed them, lined them up with all the code, and staggered them all randomly behind the poster. And of course, got the frame and everything set up properly, and then attached them to the back. And there you are. It's a very accurate matrix poster with lights. This is ZBrush in some way. I don't know. I don't remember them talking about the muscle sliding thing. And Riggs set another program, use ZBrush to define the morph target. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm thinking of. It's just like with morph targets, it was blend shapes. That's the only way you can really do that kind of setup in ZBrush. So I was thinking another way we could do this quick to create holes. What do we want to do here? Inset. No, what are we looking at? Yeah, so we get that, and then we do split, ring. No, why did I do that? I want to do inset, I guess, right? Yeah. Alright, is the point still there, or is it just showing center? No, I think it's just showing the center. Alright. So I'm thinking if we do an inset, and then I can use that as the holes. Perfect. And then we want to do delete. Polygroup island. I hate that when you're right clicking or whatnot and then you touch the head area by accident and then it makes it go all wonky. Alright, come on. Work with me here. There we go. Alright. Alright, so now just bridge these holes. Bridge two holes, spline. Is it spline or do you want to do, I forget now, I'm trying to remember. Is it arc and line? I think it's maybe arc and line. Interactive curvature, interactive resolution, yep. Polygroup columns, let's try this. It's been a while since I messed with this thing. There we go. Woo! Gotta see there. Okay, let's try that again. Alright, so yeah, now we're getting a nice curve. And as we go up, we add more edge loops. That's alright. It's a good starting point. I'm going to manipulate the hell out of it anyway. Alright, so there we go. So now we got our nice little custom curve quickly done. Quickly-ish. And now we're going to delete a bunch of polygroups here. So polygroup all. Let's I'm going to get the light blue. And we're going to get rid of the bottom one here. But we don't want that to be... We can just do auto groups so that they're different polygroups. Delete this guy. Boom. And then all we got is this, which is all I want. And so now... Haha. Now we can manipulate this guy. And this will be our basis for the cloth. I think we probably should have it more quadded nicely, though. Yeah, that works. It's all good. Pretty rad, loving it, haha. Didn't understand it, just theory, though. Can you suggest a tutorial? Difference between move and move topological. Move topological really lets you focus on, without dynamic on, really lets you focus on, you can have two of these things very close to, two objects close to together, two subtools, and you could easily have it respect the topology according to the continuation of topology. So it'll kind of detect what's continuous topology, which's not overall, and so it lets you really be specific with moving just points, verts, edges, that kind of stuff, and really just zeroes in on the points, on the verts, and lets you move it around that way. So like if I just even, let's see if I just did this quick. So if I just duplicated this, okay, and then I did a auto group, so there are two different polygroups. With move topological, I can touch this orange one, and it's not really affecting the blue one at all, right? And vice versa, which is awesome. But if I go to regular move, it's going to move both of them. See that? So I'm touching the same vert, and yet it's affecting more in a range that's the range of the brush, right? So that's really the main difference between move topological and regular move, and they're great. But so regular move is just more, it's a more broad, blunt tool in a lot of ways, and each of them have their pluses and minuses. But right now, I kind of want to move this as a more, unified piece, to have it affect more generalized area instead of a more hyper localized area. So that's why I'm using a mixture of the two. I figured I would save your eardrums. Hopefully that muted as I sneezed. Got a dust. Got a dust in my apartment. I had my fans going for days on end now, and have not dusted them in like a good week or two. Ceiling fans. Because it's been rather hot and humid over here in the North Redondo, Manhattan Beach area, and beach cities in general have been pretty freaking hot and humid. But not nearly as bad as it is up in the valley and up in most of LA, where it's like about 20 or 30 degrees hotter than here. So being close to the ocean is definitely the place you want to be with these kind of hot days. Plus, I think we got a lot more particulates in the air, probably from the fires, I guess, a bit. Oh, it seems to be the case, where we get some sort of drift of the smoke and just stuff in the air, the crap we shouldn't be breathing in, really. Depending where they are. I don't know. I'm not even sure where they are this time around. It's terrible. I haven't really kept up. There's so much negative news. The news just loves to promote just the worst of everything, and I just kind of get sick of hearing about negative news a lot. I found a lot of people saying the same thing, though. Just when they take time away from the news, take time away from Facebook, and just live life, just focus on what's locally around you and not be so concerned about everything that's international or national all the time. It kind of just gives you a little bit more, I think, what's a natural, healthy mentality of just staying in your localized area, right? Mental brain space, and not being so concerned and so just, just not having such a negative mental state all the time, and just not worrying or, just thinking about all that. And It's like I like to think of myself as an optimist, but I can be a pretty pessimistic person too. I can be pretty realistic about things. And anyway, it's been frustrating lately. I'm ready for this lockdown just to be. I want to get back to normal, man. I want to get back to regular normal. So. Bless you, thank you. um, no, I haven't been hit with any blackouts yet. Thankfully, they haven't hit this area, and I'm not sure who we have to thank for that. I'm guessing local government, like city government. I guess they have some sort of agreement. I feel like it just feels like, interestingly, whether it's good or bad. I mean, I'm sort of a benefactor of the area I live in, which is very affluent. Like a lot of, I mean, my rent is not nearly as expensive as the houses around me, but all the houses around me are like 1.5 million up. Like that's the cheap house, and they're still really nice houses. But like the community is a very affluent community, and so I feel like they probably have a lot of say with, a lot of pull, I would say, with local government. And I'm sure they can influence the pressures that the powers that be to pressure them to not shut off power to certain areas that are some of the more wealthy neighborhoods in and around LA. So that's my only guess is that the only time we ever have power outages is when a car hits a pole or something, or some line gets cut somewhere accidentally. That's the only time I've ever seen any sort of blackouts that have happened. And even sometimes in my own complex, it's crazy. The whole rest of the complex will shut down out of power, but my whole one side of the complex still has power. So it's like, I guess the power lines that are coming in here, I've just lucked out to be on one side where it rarely ever hits. But now watch it cut out power in the middle of our stream. Just watch that happen. With any luck, that's what it'll be like. Oh, so anyway, just black. Nothing. I've been blessed to live in a good area, good neighborhood, and yeah, good people. I have some great neighbors. All right, so I'm just trying to get a general feel for where I want this to go, and I don't know. I'm debating if I want to have it drop or if I want to have like an odd off-angle Liquify influence on it. But let's do a quick save where we're at, and then let's try this for the closing us out here. And I'm going to say it now for anybody who would like to keep going. If they want to see a little bit more of this, I think I'll do an extra like half hour or so right after this. Last time I said this, and I know it took me a while because I had to make a phone call. My parents catching up with my mom and whatever, because they're all the way on not here. They're on the East Coast. So I'm going to jump on Twitch right after this, and I'll do another like little half hour just to see if anyone really wants to show up. So if you would like to join my own stream, you can find me here. I did a little test run the other day, and it worked just fine, but almost nobody showed up. So you can find me on twitch.tv/DanielLionArts. So that'll be where you can catch me after this. So a little bit after 8, I'm going to switch from here to my own channel on Twitch. Just do a little bit more of this, probably a little bit more freeform conversation. Just a little bit more of, more of this, more of something else too. Maybe a little bit more work on the shield for the kid for Last Guardian. Yeah, so we'll just change it up a little bit. Okay, so we've got our cloth set up. And, I think I might subdivide one more time. The more you subdivide, of course, the more polys have to be calculated, the more it can take longer. But in this case, where I want to, I really want to have things move gradually, meaning I want the simulation to be slow so that I can really kind of see what's going on. I wish we could rotate while it was simulating, but I think that would just take too much computing power. Yeah, so we'll see. I guess we'll start with... what I'm going to do is first eliminate some of this stuff that we don't need. I'm just going to turn on doubles just so we can see everything well. Oh wait, I flipped it. Oops, double. There we go. Okay, yeah, we're looking good. Alright, so now I'm going to bring over the dynamics menu, the new dynamics, and it's all about camera perspective. So in this case, Y is up and down for ZBrush, and that's also going to mean that gravity will be applied to that view relative to the camera. So I'm trying to think if I want to... He's batting down, but the air is kind of kicking it up. So which way do I want it to, gravitate toward? And I guess I kind of like it to go this way a bit. Actually, probably got to be a little bit more extreme rotation because I want it to sort of maintain its general overall shape, but have some flow to it. And then when you add Liquify to the whole thing, it sort of acts, as Ofer was saying, it acts as if it's underwater. So this will act like it was falling through liquid. So that's where we're going to put Liquify on. We're going to put gravity to like 2.5. Firmness, I gotta remember, I mean, I haven't practiced enough. The firmness letter determines how the surface will tend to wrinkle, and faux lower vowels will produce more folds and wrinkles. Slider can be used. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you can go up to 5, go down to 2. Simulation iterations, bring this up to like 500. Max simulation points, do this at 400. I think that you can do it that way. I forget what the correlation is. Set direction for gravity, and we got everything we want. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. I'm kind of thinking I might have gone too extreme with the angle, but whatever. I might do expand too, but we'll see. So now I want to do calculate volume so that it looks at everything that's not the selected subtool as the collision volume, which means that's what it will view as solid. And now we just do run simulation. Okay, yeah, too fast and not enough flow. So let's go a little further higher. Let's do 700. Simulation iterations. Let's make gravity a little lower. Let's give it a 1.5. Let's do a little bit more rotation like this. It's strange because I want part of them to be held. I mean, maybe that's the thing I should do. I should do some masking. I don't know. Let's just try it a little less rotation first and see what happens. So set direction. Let's do expand, and yeah, let's expand in every direction. Why not? And the amount, let's see what happens with 1. Okay. Run simulation. Stop. Interesting. Really not digging that level of stair-stepping, but when you subdivide it up, looks nice, but could still be better. I think that also is, of course, attributed just to the way that it's stretching. So maybe if I just do a, I don't know, delete lower, delete higher, ZBrush it quickly to get a little bit nicer distribution of the polys instead of having them kind of stretched where I got them. What do we want to do? We want to freeze group. No, we want to detect edges, and we don't need that. Don't need that. Let's say double it and run. Now that's making some weirdness happen there. Okay, let's do a little adaptive. Let's try it again. No, still making it look weird. Meh. Guess that's okay. It's a little weird, but let's see what happens. Topology's a little weird. It's not following the edge flow. I mean, I guess I could do some curves, but that's just getting more involved than it needs to be. So I'm going to try another idea. I'm going to try masking just these bottom points, and then I'm going to do inversion here. So I'm going to do it flowing upward. Upward and at an angle. So we want the gravity to kind of be pulling it like that. Yeah. So I'm going to say grow mask a little bit. Actually, well, yeah, I could polygroup those. Then I want to divide it up once. Now I'm going to mask those, invert, lower, blur, go back up. Grow a little bit. I'm just going to tap a little bit with the mask to make sure that the mask is strong, at least in the center of these areas. Just these lower parts. Okay. Reaching the time here, but alright, so now we're going to do set direction, and let's see how this goes. Stop. Interesting. I forget, did I turn on? Oh, I didn't turn on self-collision. Aha! That's something I thought I was missing that, because yeah, we got some interpenetration here happening right here, unfortunately, but that's looking cool. I like that more. It's gotten a lot more of that flare and that flow that I was looking for. So that's working better, I think. Let me just firm up these masks a little bit more. Okay, so we want self-collusion on. Floor collision doesn't matter because we're not touching the floor. Put it at max. And we're going back here. Slight angle. And turn that expanse down a bit. Do 0.5. And I don't think we need to recal because we just did set direction. And let's do run simulation. Beautiful. Alright, let's see what we look like. I'm liking that. Now, I kind of want it to move that way. So there's two things we can do from this point. I'm just going to hit quick save quick. We can use the move cloth brushes or transpose gizmo. Or I can just simulate it to move that way. And I kind of want to do simulation to move it sideways, just because it'll give us a more natural flow. When I found to use the move cloth brushes, maybe I haven't used them enough, it really gives it a central point of like you pulling it that way. It looks like it's really the cloth is being taut, being pulled in a direction rather than it having a flow in that direction. And maybe that might mean that I just need to expand my brush size and just be a little bit more like lower Z intensity. I don't know. I haven't really experimented enough with that. But for the sake of cool factor and fun, I think I'm just going to do the simulation in this direction. So I'll try this. Set direction. And sorry, I'm probably missing some stuff in the chat. What do we got going on? Media tries to use fear on everyone. Yeah, it's the truth. Don't see any stream for last week on Twitch. Last week it wasn't last week. It was just like Sunday. But I deleted what I was doing because it wasn't worth keeping up on there really. It was just me chatting with like a couple friends who showed up here and there. It was funny. But didn't really need to leave it on there. Just an hour talking to yourself. No, I really didn't spend an hour talking to myself. I spent an hour talking to a couple different friends, and then in the interim, I was talking as if I was talking to a future audience, saying this is for those in the future. But after I just thought about it more, I'm like, and we got my friends, and I got into more personal topics or political leaning of topics, and I figured people wouldn't like some of that, so I just deleted it. All right, let's do run simulation. No, moving. Well, I don't know. It's going a little too far down. I still want to move it more sideways. It's not too bad though. That's actually not too bad at all. But yeah, let's go straight sideways. Actually, sideways, and if anything, a little bit up still. So, yeah, like that. All right. And then after this simulation, I'll save it. We'll say goodbyes, and then if you want to join me over on my own Twitch channel, you've got the link in the chat, twitch.tv/DanielLionArts. We'll go for another half hour or so, see if anybody wants to join me over there. 2 days ago, I attended it, yeah. I still not saved this video. Yeah, I didn't save it. Pro tip kids, there's a new elasticity setting in the brush menu. Works with dynamic settings. Turn on the brush. It's a cloth ZBrush. Yeah, that's right. As long as you're under the max, the number of polys for sim. Thank you for the tip, good sir. All right, I think we're good. Set direction. Run simulation. Ooh, I'm liking that. Interesting, I should get rid of these guys. Do I need those? I'm liking that. Yeah, it's a nice flow. I just feel like I let it go a little too far, though. Kind of want to bring it back. Let's see here. Do a little quick. So we got pull, we got slide, we've got the wind, but the wind gets too crazy, I think. Cloth nudge. I wonder how that would look. And bring this down. Nope. Yeah, it's working. No, it's getting too intense. Yeah, I think it helps to keep the larger polygons going for larger folds and more gross, broad movements. Yeah. Alright, got the inflate up too much. Where am I missing it? Inflate, there we go. Alrighty, bring this down a little bit more. Yeah, it's looking beautiful. Again, still might modify it a little bit. It might be just too dominant. Might be a little too broad, too big. But I am just liking the flow of it. And that part of the idea too is that, like I was saying, I might want to have this be something that I probably need to add another piece or two that would touch the wings, so that might be what actually holds up the wings in the end structurally, and not just the dust clouds. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. It's a weird balancing act here, I think, it's trying to be accomplished. Let's bring inflate even more down. Let's do 0.1. Interesting, it's still floating above that pretty high. Yeah, definitely feels messy. Like there's a lot of shapes just sort of in the way, so I gotta clean stuff up a bit, but still, it's cool. It's getting there. Still just experimentational phase, but yeah, maybe this should be smaller and moved a little bit more. But anyway, I think we're just at about time. Yeah, it's looking kind of cool though. It's this back area here is looking pretty cool in the behind the main piece. It's looking, I like that a lot. It's working. This is working. This is not so much. I don't know. I feel like I need to mess with this a little bit more. There we go. It's kind of looking cool. Alrighty, well, I think I'll keep working on this on the Twitch channel for a little bit. So a quick save here. Transition over there for those of you who'd like to join. Otherwise, this will conclude the Pixologic portion of my stream. And sorry, let me just get to the last bit of chat here. What did we say? Nothing really changed. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Yeah, so just hop on over to twitch.tv/DanielLionArts if you'd like to keep watching a little bit more of this. I'm going to work on this, and I think I'm going to work on my last Guardian shield, which is this guy right here. Doing some live Boolean operations with that, and we'll be attaching the handle to it and prepping it for both 3D printing and for Unreal Game Engine. So, all right, guys and gals, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here for the stream. And we're going to hop over to Twitch now. So, all right, for those not following, take care and stay safe. We'll talk to you again soon.